Wow, we have quite a few video lectures going on this week, and so we're going to get into designing visual language elements, elements of the brand identity. All right. And for this particular segment, again, this is, I think, the fifth segment. For this one, I went ahead and I'm going to choose a broad cross-section of brands to talk about as we're going through these things. And so I want to be sure that I pull corporations from different fields. So we did Delta, we did Target, and now we're going to do Chipotle. Okay, Chipotle. We'll call it Chipotle. I may be mispronouncing that, but I've been speaking so much today, maybe that's okay. So Chipotle is what we're going to be showing, and of course that was a brand that had a severe brand incident and has recovered some from that, the food poisoning issues that occurred once upon a time. But certainly they aren't as in trouble as some other food service companies are. All right, so here we go. Again, designing visual language, elements of the brand identity. Okay, so the brand identity is the visual and verbal articulation of a brand as applied to a single product or service or an extended family of products or services, which includes all integrated graphic design applications. It is also called a visual identity or a corporate identity. A brand identity may also include a claim or tagline and advertising depending upon your client and design firm or advertising agency. Defining the brand's spirit, the brand's look, and along with differentiating it from the competition are the main goals of the brand identity. To be successful, efficacy and sustainability, the brand identity should be memorable, should be flexible, should possess a spirit that is appropriate for the brand and audience, should express a meaningful message, should differentiate the brand from the competition, should be distinctive. Okay, so naming a brand, which is what a lot of you guys are doing right now anyway. So naming a brand involves many crucial considerations. What does the name mean? What type of spirit or personality should it convey? How will people react to it? What does the name mean in a specific language to a target market? A brand name is the verbal identity, a proprietary name for a product, service, or group, coupled with a tagline and or descriptor. A brand name becomes the verbal signature of a company's product or service or of a group. It is an intangible asset, optimally adding value to a brand. Without question, the brand is the main point of reference to any brand. The brand name is the reference to any brand and is the main verbal marketing tool. Usually the name is the one brand element that remains unchanged or at least in place for long periods of time. Logos often are periodically updated, however, names usually don't change. That, of course, can change if there's a company merger or an acquisition or a takeover, or maybe even the name becomes outdated. So like JCPenney became JCP or something like that. I think it went back to being JCPenney. Okay? There are several categories of name types that are more or less appropriate for any brand. The founder's name, okay, which makes sense. Okay, Ben and Jerry's, all of those things. Martha Stewart, Levi Strauss. Explanatory. named to best explain or describe what they do. Okay, that would be like Coca-Cola, Toys R Us, Petco. Those are explanatory. Expressive or innovative. Okay, here again we have some of those created words. All right, Xerox, but it also includes some words that have different meanings. Yahoo. Okay, a unique name, Timex. Google. What did Google mean? Okay, before that, before it became a brand. Okay, so expressive or invented. Okay, allegorical or symbolic. Names that express their nature through an allusion to an allegory or a symbol to represent a brand. Okay, the Nike, the Greek goddess of victory. Sirius, named for the sky's brightest star. And Apple computer, all symbolic or allegoric symbols. An acronym, a brand name formed from the initials or other parts of several names or words. For example, the following would be, we have BMW, we have KFC, we have IBM, we have BP. Lots and lots of different acronyms as far as names for corporations. Okay, effective names. There are many ways to make a brand name effective, distinct. Okay, a brand that characterizes, distinguishes, and differentiates you from the competitors. Memorable. A name should be worth remembering and sufficiently engaging. Okay, purposeful. A brand name can be meaningful, adding significance, purpose, or cachet to a product, service, or group. Extendable. Okay, a name should be capable of growing and changing with the company, supporting possible brand extensions. Long-lasting. The name will be viable in the long term. Okay, legally owned. The name or domain should be available to be legally registered, owned, and trademarked. Okay, should not infringe on any other trademark's name. Well, that's kind of a given. Designing a logo. A logo is a unique identifying symbol or word mark, also called a brand mark. Mark, identifier, logo type, logo mark, or trademark. A logo represents and embodies everything a brand or company signifies. A logo provides immediate recognition. Nomenclature periodically changes, although the term brand mark is used by some within the design community. Logo is the most commonly accepted term, and certainly clients understand that more. Okay? Types of logos. Logos can take the form of a word mark, a letter mark, a symbol mark, or a combination thereof. Okay, a word mark is the name spelled out in a unique typography or lettering. Okay? Letter mark, a type of logo that is created using the initials of a brand name. Okay? Symbol mark is a visual mark that symbolizes the brand and can be formed into a pictorial visual or an abstract visual or a non-representational visual. A pictorial symbol mark is a representational image that symbolizes the brand or social cause it relates to. It relates to an identifiable object. An abstract symbol mark is a type of logo which is representational, visual, with an emphasis on the intrinsic form. An abstraction relating to a real object modified with an abstract emphasis. A symbol mark can also be non-representational can also be a non-representational visual, which is a non-pictorial design that symbolizes the brand and does not relate to an identifiable object or person. Combination marks. Okay, so the abstract symbol mark is the most expensive because you have to advertise it. Okay, a symbolic mark takes a tremendous amount of money to represent what that is. A symbolic mark takes a pictorial mark. All of these that don't say the name require a tremendous amount of money to become that. The AT&T logo. Even if we don't see the AT&T, the globe, that symbol, that abstract symbol for the planet Earth, okay? It took millions for that to represent AT&T, okay? A combination mark, a combination of words and or symbols. Okay, so that's probably the most common one that we run across. Conveying meaning. Given that a logo identifies an entity or a group, corporation, product, service, person, social cause, or issue, it must clearly communicate through its design the personality, character, and nature of the entity. Amazingly, an enormous amount of the meaning, content, and emotion can be compressed and articulated in a logo and perceived by a viewer. So with one glance, a viewer should be able to ascertain and assess a brand by looking at the logo. Although not a designer, today's average viewer has become design savvy by virtue of exposure to a plethora of design applications. Graphic design is ubiquitous in industrialized nations. Everywhere a person turns are graphic design applications or advertisements. Each and every design decision that goes into creating a logo will affect how the viewer perceives the resulting design. If you choose to describe a logo with a scratchy line that would convey a certain feeling to the audience, color will affect the communication as well. If the logo is flat, it will communicate a different message from an illusionistic logo. Symbol marks, pictorial, abstract, or non-representational logos can take many different forms and evoke different styles or periods. Certainly, the type of forms you choose must be appropriate for your brand. Convey the brand spirit and differentiate yourself, okay? So, for example, Milton Glazer's logo for Brooklyn Brewery, which was applied to their packaging, promotional materials, t-shirts, trucks, and the front of the brewery. Glazer comments, the name Brooklyn suggests, among other things, Dodgers. And the baseball team still associated with Brooklyn many years after they treacherously decamped for Los Angeles. The partners of Brooklyn Brewery wanted their label to have a European appearance to differentiate it among popular American beers and to suggest their commitment to a more complex and interesting product. I designed a B that looked as though it belonged on a Dodgers uniform. Actually, the lettering on the real uniforms was quite straightforward, but through some trick of memory, most people recall it looking like this logo. Okay. A logo is the graphic design application that will be a part of every other brand design application. It is the signifier. It is the identifier. Okay. It is the capstone in a corporate identity. It is everywhere from the base. Everything radiates from the logo. An identity standards manual is a guide containing approved standard graphic elements of the logo, typographic and color palettes, and brand signature. also called a graphic standards manual or brand standards manual. It provides a range of possibilities and guidelines for the use of fonts in various combinations and in various applications, both print and digital, as well as guidelines on choosing weights, size, numerals, symbols, bullets, and the use of small caps. Consistent use guarantees immediate recognition in a cluttered marketplace and ensures integrity of meaning. Brand signature design. The brand signature is the combination of the word mark, the brand's name spelled out in a unique typography, and the logo, which can be a symbol or a letter mark. It becomes the signature or a sign-off for the brand or company. The brand signature can also be made up of the brand name, logo, and tagline, or a particular word. For one brand or company, there may be numerous signatures for various divisions of the company, or for various purposes and themes. Graphic designers create specific guidelines for the use of brand signatures, delineated proportions, color, palette, restrictions and limitations, spacing, heights, and areas of isolation around the logo. Protection through trademarks. Trademarks are used by companies to protect their brand assets. Brand assets that represent value to the company through legal protection and registration. Proper and consistent use of trademarks is the key to legally protecting these valuable assets. Okay, so I kind of missed some of this on my thing about the legalese, and I didn't want to record again another 47 minutes of stuff. So I'm going to bring it up in here since these are really coinciding really well. Okay, TM. That stands for trademark, okay? You will see copyright. You know what copyright stands for. But what does registered means? Okay, because registered means like a registered trademark. The R represents that you have gone through and registered the trademark, that it has not completed the trademark process, it is not fully protected. It's been filed, so it's protected, okay? But the R means that it is in process, okay? TM means that it has finished the process and has been approved and is now considered a trademark by the United States Trademark and Patent Office, okay? So that's the difference. Okay, we have registered up until the process is finished, then it becomes TM. Okay, hope that helps make some of that sense going on in there. Okay. All right, the SM symbol, which you don't find very often, means a service mark. It is any word, name, symbol, device, or any combination used to make reference to a brand's unique service. Okay, so a service mark is the same as a trademark, except it identifies and distinguishes the source of a service rather than a product. Okay, color perceptions and associations. Color is perhaps the most elusive design element. There are many more variables involved with how people respond to color than there are with visual elements. The perception of color varies greatly from person to person, depending upon culture, philosophy, psychology, and exposure to marketing color symbolism. Although to be sure, we can get a handle on a specific culture's color symbolism and associations, color's wildcard manifests itself in both individual response and taste, as well as the challenge of maintaining quality and consistent color reproduction in both print and digital medias. Color and culture. The symbolism and association of colors in specific cultures and countries. Psychological response to color, the way a particular eye perceives color and how a person physically responds to that color. Psychology and color, the way a particular person or culture responds to color and the color associations formed for that person or group. Marketing context, the specific color representations that have been established by marketeers. An example for that would be orange denotes tropical flavor in a beverage. Yellow denotes lemon scents. Okay? Green means healthy or organic or good for us simply because of the color that we associate. Blue, safe, steady, calm. Okay? Each culture attributes certain symbolic meanings to colors, and the meanings vary greatly from country to country, and even vary between religions within that country. When one designs for an international audience, one must be prudent about performing thorough research into color symbolism to avoid any screw-ups. Okay? In certain countries, particular colors have become associated and encoded with marketing context or meaning. For example, green cigarette packaging represents menthol cigarettes. Green may also represent a hot beverage, such as tea is decaffeinated. Okay? And it's kind of the same in the U.S., where we attribute, when we see a carafe in a cafe with an orange handle, we think it's decaf. If it's a brown handle and brown pour spot, we think it's caffeinated. All right? Because those pots needed to differentiate themselves, and those colors were those differentiations. The main goals for color or color palette of any brand design is to distinguish the brand in a category and convey a relevant image to the audience. Some designers create custom colors or color palettes for a brand with a hope of distinction. One aim is to utilize the color that other brands don't use and therefore preempts other brands from using it. When a preemptive claim has been established, that color belongs to a particular brand and becomes strongly identifiable with that brand. Certainly, a competing brand could use the same color. However, it wouldn't help to distinguish itself in the marketplace. Owning a color also aids recognition, recall, and brand equity. Some brands legally trademark a color or color palette. The red beverage can of Coca-Cola. Brands try to own a color as if they own a brand or advertising construct. For example, Coca-Cola owns red and goes to great lengths to ensure that Coca-Cola Red is consistently produced on all packaging around the world. To distinguish itself from Coke, the Pepsi label is blue. Designing with color. For many designers, marketing executives, and viewers, color is very personal. Most people, whether they are designers or accountants, find some colors more attractive than others. You could show the same logo design printed in two different colors and get two different reactions due to the color choice. Although there are market-driven color associations, many designers rely on their sensibility and intuition when dealing with color and color palettes. Since color is so very elusive as well as personal, one needs to be diligent in a couple areas. Okay, color marketing denotation. Cultural meaning and denotation. A designer must be prudent and conduct careful research. Current market symbolism and current trends in the category. If all deodorants are silver, then don't use silver. Break with the category while still being appropriate to the product, service, or group. Know the competitor's color. As with type and logos, there seem to be trends and trendy color palettes. Whether one design sets the trend or everyone is designing in retro palettes, it does happen. Avoid following trends. Think conceptually about color. Looking like everyone else's design doesn't build brand equity or distinction. Use a color or color palette vastly different than the competition. Being creative with color combinations. People's decision to buy can be swayed or even reversed by color. Color can be used to create an image and brand personality. Color in combination with form can be very expressive. Okay? When a budget allows for more than one color or even a color palette, a designer can use one or more colors for the logo and assign the different color to the brand's tagline or descriptor. If one has a 2-color budget, the symbol can be the principal color and the tagline or descriptor as assigned another supportive color. Typography. In the design of a brand identity and brand experience, typography is a key element in visual communication. A large part of a brand's individuality stems from its typography. Unity throughout a brand identity and across the brand experience greatly relies on the typography, and a viewer's ability to recognize a brand greatly depends upon thorough typography. Readability, legibility, visual hierarchy. Typography should contribute to the ordering of information and greatly aid the visual hierarchy. Sizes, weights, and alignment may all assist visual hierarchy. Context and flexibility, range, display versus text, size, brand image support, character. The individual characteristics and qualities of a font contribute to its personality, which will communicate on a cognitive level to the audience. The font choice should bolster the brand image. Compatibility. Select appropriate fonts to complement the brand signature. That is, letter forms that are visually compatible, interesting, and harmonized with the right tone and voice for the brand. Appropriateness. Choose fonts that are suitable for the brand, project and objectives and audience, and are in the right tone and voice for the brand. Okay? Font selection and combinations. How type works with an image or images. Type for the logo or brand. Often a font will be custom created for a brand, so that brand is the sole owner of that font. One of its merits is distinction. So let's talk about taglines. Okay, the toughest job you'll ever love. That's the Peace Corps. Nike's just do it. Do you have the bunny inside? Energizer, right? Savor the world, noodling. I don't even know who they are, but there's lots and lots of taglines out there. Okay, a tagline is a short, succinct phrase, catchphrase, or end statement that embodies the broad strategy of a branding program and or an ad campaign, establishing something memorable, particular, and clear about the brand. Along with the name, a tagline is the verbal articulation of a brand. The tagline is also called a brand line, claim, slogan, end line, or strap line. As does a logo, a tagline encompasses and compresses a huge amount of communication into a very small bundle. Okay? In the case of a tagline, a great deal needs to be conveyed in a very few words. What needs to be communicated is the brand benefit or spirit, which generally acts as an umbrella theme or strategy for a branding program, often including advertising campaign, an advertising campaign or series of campaigns. A local one, Burgerville. It's where you go when you know. Okay? When the client strategy is strongly asserted in the tagline, concepts for graphic design, application, and ads may follow suit more easily. If for any reason a design or an ad concept isn't fully communicated, the tagline can clarify or round out the communication. Polaroid, see what develops. Friends don't let friends drive drunk. Apathy is lethal. Okay, that's for AIDS awareness. The idea of a tagline sets the platform for the entire branding and advertising campaign. All parts of the brand experience should embody the same spirit and communicate the same strategy. Point of view, who is talking? In whose voice is the tagline written? The voice of the company? A friend's voice? Relating to the audience from their point of view rather than the corporation's point of view can really help. Function versus emotional benefits. A functional benefit is a practical advantage or functional capability of the brand, such as a particular ingredient or the speed of the technology. For example, the former Timex tagline, "It takes a lickin' and keeps on tickin'," states the benefit of a sturdy timepiece, or melts in your mouth, not in your hands for M&M. Savor the world. Okay? All right. An emotional benefit is an intangible gain derived from using the brand or an affecting feeling consequential to the brand or by appealing to one's sense of social responsibility, such as raising one's self-esteem. By using the brand, such raised self-esteem could be gained by using hair coloring or feeling altruistic by stopping a friend from driving drunk. Just do it appeals to no one's sense of athleticism and personal best, rather than touting a functional benefit, such as the quality of the craftsmanship or fit of the Nike line of athletic shoes and clothing. The efficacious tagline, "Friends don't let friends drive drunk," works because there is an emotional appeal to intervene, to take action in order to prevent a potential tragedy. When a tagline sounds like a bad advertising sales pitch, it makes the brand seem unrelated to people's needs. It seems extraneous and contrived. Once you've written a tagline, read it loud. Does it sound contrived? Does it make sense? Is it punchy? Would you say it in a conversation? Would somebody easily remember it? Does it establish a strategy and personality? Besides sounding like something you'd say to your friends during a conversation, these lines must do something that is vital to copy and successful advertising. They must embody the strategy of the brand. Okay? Top 10 slogans of the century according to Ad Age. A diamond is forever. Just do it. The pause that refreshes. I didn't even know that was Coca-Cola's. Tastes great, less filling. We try harder. Good to the last drop. Breakfast of champions. Does she or doesn't she? When it rains, it pours. Where's the beef? Your country's intellectual property office can help you with the process of developing or registering a trademark and provide information on how to establish trademark rights, which is exactly what we covered in our legal lecture this week. Have a great day. Bye-bye.